Good morning, Manuela.
Good morning, Carmen.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Manuela. I'm the head of tax, legal and compliance at the Cine Group. Very fast-moving company in the travel industry. And my background, I'm coming from the tax area. I am a VAT specialist for many years, working in the consultancy industry and in the industry. And for that, I had a lot of experience in the area of VAT and tax, but not really in legal and compliance. So when I was asked for that specific position, I was wondering, okay, but I'm a tax specialist, so can I do also legal and compliance?
So you were saying that the skills required in the position were above your experience, above your,
At least over my practical experience. I'm a lawyer by background, so many years ago I studied and then decided in going into tax. So I knew I may have the educational background, but I didn't really work as a lawyer in practice. And they only convinced me really when I finally had the interview with the COO and the CFO. And they explained what they're really looking for. And they make clear they're actually looking for a person who helped them to develop and implement processes. And this is actually exactly what I have done in my previous work. Even working as a tax specialist, VAT is a transactional tax, and you're always involved in a lot of different transactions with finance, AP, supply chain, purchasing, logistic, all kind of different departments. And this was exactly the experience they wanted to have this connection to different departments, understanding that processes can be developed and also implemented, which is probably the harder job to do, and also be able to talk to different people.
What was your experience as a candidate, for other job that you applied for? Like, were they very strict with the skill set requirements, or were they a little bit more flexible? How did you experience the market?
So this last one was quite positive, because I felt, I don't know what they done, but I feel quite welcome to the interview. They had, they showed me around, they showed me nice pictures. So the whole atmosphere was quite relaxed and very personally. That probably is the key point. And they explained what they're looking for they've been quite honest, right? They also mentioned what are the current issues and obstacles they have. And they had a vision where they want to go to. And they said they need somebody helping them to go all those way to finalize this vision. And I just had an interview a couple of weeks before, which was just terrible, right? There have been two people, they're just sitting in front of their papers and they're looking for the position, and they had no ideas. They just followed the skill sets and they kind of tick the boxes, but they doesn't seem to be interested in the person, into myself, what I really have done and what I want to do. So it was a complete different interview. So it was very interesting also for me to see similar position, and the interviews have been so different.
For sure, you've been interviewing candidates yourself, like to hire for your team. What was your experience with that? And do you think that the perfect candidate exists?
Yeah, the question is, do you want the perfect candidate? Yeah, I think I'm hiring right now, and I hired a couple of weeks ago. I'm very happy with the last hire we done. Sometimes it's also a little bit, I don't know if you can say it's luck. I was looking for a candidate with a very specific skill set. And that skill set is not easy to find, and we only had a couple of CVs coming in, not much. So I didn't have like 10 candidates, maybe just 2 or 3. And I had a first online interview to get to know the candidates. And out of those 3, I only felt one, it's a really nice candidate. Also from a personal interaction point of view, I felt, that would be a person which fits nicely into the team, who can interact also with other people outside the team. Those positions are often critical. If you are not able to communicate with people, then it's very difficult and you never get the things done. Even if the skill set is there, it won't help you in the end. So we decided for that candidate, and luckily the candidate accepted. Everybody's very happy. So that was a good move, and we've been quite lucky to find that good candidate for that position. So hopefully it will also works out for the next one. Let's see.
How do you think the fitting into the team and the culture of the company impact the decision or the selection of a candidate?
For the current company, for Scenic, it is quite important. I have seen other companies where that wasn't really a big decision point, where it was more skill set focused, which is also okay if you have bigger teams and you are able to have, let's say, playing different roles for different people, and you may also need somebody just sitting there and working on Excel all day. That might be okay, but I think especially for small teams who need to also take over other tasks, maybe from different departments, just to help out each other, I think it's getting more and more important to that things like that the person fits into the team. Otherwise, it's also not nice for the person working there. I want to go into the office and I want to looking forward to be in the office, talking to my colleagues, having a nice chat and having a coffee during the coffee break. I mean, if you don't really have that, you don't enjoy working, right?
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the generation of a candidate might have an impact on the selection process and how they will behave within the selection process?
Yeah, that's the current discussions, right? But I have to say I have young people in the team and they're really good, and they have excellent education. They work hard too. So I don't know, I follow that discussion. I can read it in the newspaper, but I have to say my personal experience, now we have really good people, young people in the team who are willing to work hard, but also have fun, right? I mean, I completely understand. My life is more than just being in the office. Mm-hmm. People have family, which is also a big topic now for the maybe a little bit older mm-hmm. generation, right? Can you bring together the family life and working life and still have a good balance? And yeah, doesn't work out every day, mm-hmm. but we try, right? Because we all also have family and we know the issue. So I think if you understand and you need to be flexible, I think, if possible. That's the big thing. And we have a lot of women working in the office, and also the men, they have families. So we try to get happy everybody. It may not work out every day.
Work-life balance is a topic that is hot for many years now. How do you approach the topic as a candidate when you are in an interview?
As a candidate, I think you need to be open. And maybe it's a bit more difficult for the woman than for the man. In the interviews so far, I didn't put that as one of the first topics. Maybe at the end, but often I didn't even mention that. Maybe that's a mistake. I think nowadays you should probably communicate a bit more open, but also it depends a bit on the position you're applying for. But in general, it should apply for everybody, that there should be a work-life balance. For the candidates I'm interviewing, I'm quite proactive and telling them, look, we all have family. We know there are things you cannot predict and you cannot organize in advance. So if something happens, we try to be flexible and we give those employees the flexibility that they can go earlier, they come later. If something happens, if the school calls, you need to pick up your kid, what should you do? You go and you pick up your kid. And we try, and usually if you give that flexibility to your employees, they give you something back, right? They understand, okay, we have an urgent project, and if it's possible, they stay longer and they help you to finish that off. I think it's on both sides, right? You give flexibility, but you get a lot in return, right? People really helping you if it's needed.
Flexibility. You mentioned that it's important to give the right flexibility to employees. And I would like to know, as an employer, is still a little bit a taboo to discuss certain topics like flexibility? And if we are going into the direction of limiting that flexibility in terms of remote working, flexibility, flexible working hours, do you think that as an employer is still a little bit a taboo to discuss these topics within the company? And do you think that is going to be limited in the future, or we're going into a direction in which we have to assure and give more flexibility to employees when we want to keep them?
Yeah, it's an interesting topic, and it's also a very difficult topic because there are limits. So, and I think you need clear rules. And if you have clear rules in the company, then I think everybody will understand and can then play with those flexibility given by the rules. For example, if you say there's 1 day home office, I quite like that. And you are free to choose if you want to take the Wednesday or the Friday or what fits into your personal life. If people are having like 2-3 days home office, I found it sometimes difficult, because we don't find any internal time for bigger meetings, right? It's always the question, how do you bring that into a balance, the needs of the company and the wish for flexibility from the employer, which is understandable, but I think it has his boundaries. So I think 1 day home office for certain companies, maybe also 2, depends on the company, but you still need to be able to operate as a company, which get difficult if nobody is in the office and everything is through Teams. I mean, we experienced that too during COVID, that you have Teams meetings or days. But just now I realized when I can traveling again, seeing people, especially in an international setting, it makes such a difference, right? I was also thinking, it works, right? During COVID, we have all those meetings, but every single project took much longer than it takes time before. It was incredible, right? It works, but everything takes longer. So now I think when we are back to more or less the normal life, it's more pace in it. It's going faster. And I think it's a bit of pity if companies will lose that, right? So yes, flexibility, we understand that employees will need it and request that, but I think it needs to have his boundaries, and not everything will work out. So but it can be different from company to company. So each company needs to decide what is still, what is working out and what will not work.
Do you think that this trend will change in the near future? Like that companies will want employees to come to the office more and more often?
I think so. At least I think the 1 day home office it's now quite established. I think that is probably the future. Anything more, I'm not sure. So, but let's see what happens. It's a kind of unpredictable time. If the conditions might be different, then we may see more changes.
How would you respond to a candidate who's really, let's say, perfect or matching the requirements that your company is looking for, but the candidate is asking for more flexibility and a little bit of more, home office or remote working, but you know that this candidate will make the difference in your company? Would you be then able to be more flexible? Like, would you compromise on this?
Difficult question, because it might be fine for one candidate, but we have a lot of other employees too, right? And we do make the processes and the rules to be followed by everyone. And if you give certain people special treatment, it's also an issue for the rest of the team. So I'm always quite cautious to give special treatment. I try to treat the team equal. I understand that some people may have specific needs, so I need to always understand why is the request, and maybe there are other things we could do to help the employee to get the flexibility he or she needs. Right, but it's a very difficult question because yes, you need to see the one candidate, but you also need to see the team and you need to treat them all equal. So yeah, that's always the issue with the rules.
What advice would you give to job seekers?
Be brave. I think when I saw this job description, I was like, oh my God, they want the Swiss Army knife. Nobody can do that. But talk to people. Really try something else. If the company looks interesting, or you think, oh wow, that job sounds interesting. I don't fit maybe 100%, but I could imagine I could work in that position, apply and talk to people and find out what they really want. And if there is a fit, if you feel that could work out. If you don't do that, you may lose a big opportunity.
Thinking of you as a candidate, what factors contribute in picking that particular position?
Several points. It could be the company itself. That was the case for me because I love traveling and I love organizing traveling. And when I saw an advert from a travel industry, I was immediately into that, even before reading the job description. So that could be one point, but this is something very personally, right? Also about finding the right people who have fun to work in that kind of company, and very international, fast moving company might be not the right thing for everybody. And then also the task. Oh yeah, there's a lot of tasks I feel very comfortable with. I can contribute. I know I'm really good at. And there might be also ways I look, oh, I haven't done that in the past, but it sounds so interesting. I can learn more things. I can further develop. And there is a nice way into the future. So, oh, that's always what I wanted. Maybe something a little bit different.
Do you have some advice for companies looking to hire?
Yeah, find the right person. Try to find the right person, because I've also seen having people who don't fit in the team have been quite toxic. And this is very difficult because you may lose other team members, your projects are not really further developing. It can have quite a big impact on the day-by-day life for the team, also for the company. And I would really focus, you need certain skill sets, I completely understand that, but please also focus on the soft skill and look if people really fit into the team.
Thank you so much, Manuela. Thank you for your insights, and I wish you all the best in your new adventure at this company.
Thank you.